even 1% talk about traffic, road, drugs, infrastructure. किसी को transfer चाहिए, किसी को चंदा चाहिए.
Even religion. They will come to you for all kind of
that, right? For that. But the election now puts the pressure on the electorate. It's demand and supply. Unless that demand changes, supply is not going to change. A politician has to win elections. He's not a professor in college. A TV channel has to sell a business. A newspaper has to sell a content. There are newspapers who are striving on content. There are newspapers who are starting on Saas stories. There are channels who are now dressing into satellite as pilot themselves and going over Ukraine. The point is, the reform has to emerge within the society. People have to change their priorities, and then we, the gladiators or the soldiers or the actors or the directors, will play to the gallery accordingly.
Now, you are a renowned lawyer, right? You work with Mr. Sangvi, right? You work with him. There is, when you're a lawyer, when you're talking in court, there's a different kind of credibility that has to be there. How is that shift? Does that shift at all? When you're talking before the court and when you're talking before common people like us, do you think you can get away with anything? And in court, you have to be credible, or
see, one thing court teaches us, lawyers who are argue, they make us thick-skinned. Judge आपको झाड़ रहा है, judge आपको गाली निकाल रहा है, not literally. Judge is not agreeing with you, but you are thick-skinned. मुझे अपनी बात कह के ही जानी है because my client is paying. I have to tell my clients. So that lawyer quality helps us in anchor. Anchor आपको गाली निकाल रहा है, anchor आपको shake कर रहा है, anchor आपको disturb कर रहा है. You can, whatever lawyer we are trained, no matter what the other person is saying, I can't deviate from my focus. In those 30 seconds, I have to talk about petrol or diesel, even if he is talking about religion. वो अगर माउंट एवरेस्ट की भी बात कर रहा है, मुझे दिल्ली के पेट्रोल पंप की बात कह के ही उठना है, whether you like it or not. Number two, yes, the threshold of credibility now is my personal conscience. TV does not require it. In 30 seconds, I can speak anything. People can say India has 800 crore voters. People can say Jaiveer Shergil is involved in the scandal. Nobody's checking. It's class. But court, you cannot afford to take that risk. So I think lawyer makes me thick-skinned, does not shift from the focus. But being a spokesperson, in the longer run, I also know I've reduced TV debates. One of my very dear friend died while on the TV debate, Rajiv Tyagi. He had a health condition. It's a heart attack. I'm not blaming any media platform. But looking at him, I was live on air that TV. I wrote a letter. It went very viral to the INB minister. Sir, as per the NBSA guidelines, you need to tame TV debates. They become slanderous, sensational platform where I'm forced to abuse. Otherwise, nobody will listen. Please bring back civility to TV debates. That letter was debated all across India at 9 o'clock, but nothing changed. And I had to take a conscious call. I reduced that day. That Rajiv's lifeless body I saw. His young wife and the kid were there. Because I knew how much he shouted and how much toll it takes on the health of every spokesperson. So unless you don't tame this slanderous beast,
it is not just physical health; it's also the mental.
It's a mental health. There are Anuragji is my neighbor, and I was young at 31 when there's certain news channels I used to do 4 times in a week. And when I used to get up from a chair, sorry, I'm being dramatic, and I used to get up my chair and my head used to go numb and shake. I never used to recognize my own self. Who am I? Am I that person who's shouting? Am I that person showing somebody down? It shakes your mental health. And that is why the reason you have to be strong, like a Formula One driver. You have to have a sharp mind. You have to have a thick skin, not to be impacted by personal remarks. And क्या कहते हैं कि कर्तव्यों को भावनाओं पे भारी रखिए भूलिए मत आपका कर्तव्य क्या है कई बार दिल दिमाग से नहीं सहमत दिमाग दिल से नहीं सहमत but the larger duty cause you have to keep and keep your health well-being safe.
But आपने जितना बोला I take all of that आपको लेकिन end of the day we're all humans, right? Yeah. We all react to it. So have there been days when you have come back very disheartened or very depressed from a television debate? And you felt that maybe I'm not doing the right thing.
Yeah, very. I think a good spokesperson has to keep himself at the platform of self-assessment. There are days where you say maybe I didn't say the fact right. There are days when I said the other spokesperson outshouted me. I did not perform. There are days where I didn't wanted to speak on religion, but I was forced to speak on religion because otherwise ये कहते हैं बेकार प्रवक्ता है. So there are days when you think this is what you really signed up for as an individual. Of course, as every human, as an anchor, as a TV channel, as a spokesperson, you think like that. But then again, as I said, you have to another day, another new day. System बदल नहीं सकता. आपको इसलिए नहीं प्रवक्ता बनाया कि आप सिस्टम को बदलिए, आपको इसलिए प्रवक्ता बनाया गया आपकी वाणी, आपकी बोली से आपका वोटर आपसे प्रभावित हो, और वो मुझे अपना काम करना है. पर हाँ, दिन के अंत में मुझे अपने अंतरात्मा को उत्तर देना है. जब तक वो दे रहा है, मैं ये काम करता रहूं.
Now, you're a successful lawyer. Time is money for you. And नहीं, आज तो मैं लोग किया था टाइम. तो आप टाइम कैसे मैनेज करते हैं when you also give time to party?
Legal lawyering is my necessity. वकालत मेरी रोजी रोटी है, राजनीति मेरा जज्बा है. I don't come from a political family at all. जो जज्बा, the passion I feel standing on an election rally and talking to the people, the passion I feel addressing the crowd, the passion I feel being on a TV channel, the passion I feel helping others in a very, very small panel, and to be selfish or because it's like the passion, the high you get people taking a photograph with you is the passion that in a very
when you're in a court.
No, in a very limited, and not to be because youngsters are sitting and not to be self-boosting. The passion at a very young age, I've addressed University at Harvard, Columbia, Stephens, Xavier's. तो मैं सोचता हूँ पंजाब जलंधर का लड़का जो सेंट जोसेफ बॉयज स्कूल में पढ़ा है, जिसको हार्वर्ड में कभी एडमिशन नहीं मिलती, राजनीति पॉलिटिक्स ने ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म दे दिया. I'm going and addressing students of Harvard. I've spoken in Israel, NATO, security. This high, no money can, it's irreplaceable. So when you say time is money, yes, today I'm following my passion. I'm following my sarfaroshi, जो मुझे जिस चीज की है. For paying the bills, my legal brief is there, and I'm, as my guru, Dr. Singhvi is there, I'm mastering the art of multitasking. So hopefully one day.
So, coming back to the content thing that we were discussing, I agree with you that it's a phase. But how and when do you think this phase will, diminish or pass, and, we'll be back to the times when, people will demand credibility? That demand has already started, isn't it? So how and where, because you interact with your interactions with must be with thousands of people on a weekly basis. Yes. So where do you see the trend going, and what is the roadmap?
I think there's an English saying, all that glitters is not gold, and people realize that. I don't want it to be a Congress versus BJP platform, but people realize what President Trump is feeding them is not what they want to consume. Maybe if he's abusing a Mexican immigrant, there was an appetite for that for only a month or 2 months. The fact that news channels, I'm sure Anurag ji, your platform, and many other national channels now have in-house fact-checking machinery, because they have realized the wind has started tilting. The wind is changing direction.
Fact check तो PIB ने भी launch किया है.
चलो वो तो कहते हैं कि मेरा कातिल ही मेरा मुंसिफ है, तो मुझे इंसाफ कौन दिलवाएगा, वो पुरानी कहावत है. और एक और है कि वो, if I'm getting it right, ये लश्कर भी तुम्हारा है और ये सरदार भी तुम्हारा है. तुम झूठ को सच भी लिख दो, ये अखबार भी तुम्हारा है. हम शिकायत करते दूबे तो किससे करते, ये सरकार भी तुम्हारी है और ये दरबार भी तुम्हारा है.
That is why I thought I'll take your views on this PIB fact check, जो जिसमें वो खुद ही चेक करके बताते हैं कि कौन सी न्यूज़ ठीक है और कौन सी न्यूज़ गलत है. जब आप डिबेट्स पे जाते हैं और इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस, इस तरह के स्टेटमेंट्स आपके जो दूसरी पार्टी से लोग बोलते हैं, या जैसे politicians बोल देते हैं that this is 80% versus 20% debate, या they call politicians by names, women politicians were called prostitutes or whatever. How do you counter that, and considering that you don't cross the line and all, because these are very provocative kind of statements, how do you maintain your sanctity and, also your calm, because these are very annoying things.
I think over the years, and again with my limited political journey, because we spokespersons see each other so much at 9 o'clock. So I take a name, and I have no shame in taking a name. If it's me and a Sudhanshu Trivedi, we are debating. No matter how the anchor is, both me and him know we will not cross each other's Lakshman Rekha. We will not abuse each other. It's an unsaid rule. Maybe it's the personality or the character we bear. There are other and certain I personally maybe once or twice I would have done, and I felt very ashamed of myself.
Or you feel like इसके साथ I will next time I'll go and cross the line.
नहीं, मेरा पंजाबी खून अंदर से खोलता है, पंजाबी कहते हैं अगर पेचा पड़ी जाए तो पीछे नहीं हटना, कि पेचा पड़ी गया तो nobody should call me a loser. But yes, largely I think if you respect other spokesperson, and if you don't speak in their language, ultimately you end up embarrassing them and forcing them also to think that don't consider my nicety as my weakness. मेरी अच्छाई को मेरी कमजोरी मत समझिए. आवाज में जोर जरूर डालिए, शोर भी जरूर डालिए, तथ्य भी डालिए, सनसनी का तड़का भी जरूर लगाइए, पर किसी के परिवार, माता, पिता वो अपना कर्तव्य करने आया है, एंकर को बिकाऊ कह के मैं अपना संदेश पार्टी का देने आया हूँ, किसी पे लालच नहीं लगाने आया, और अभी तक मैं सक्सेसफुल रहा हूँ, तो आगे देखिए.
But I've seen all of this happening in courts also. I have seen particularly in lower courts. I've seen I've covered courts for 10 years. I have seen a lot of senior lawyers just try to intimidate the judges by saying these kind of sentences. I've heard, ये judge तो बिक गया, ये judge तो ये नहीं देगा bail, इसने पैसे खा लिए. I've heard it. Just to put pressure. So I think this is the reason why lawyers become good politicians later, right? They start it very early. There's a different kind of training. And I've also noticed judges, very senior high court judges, remember? So they knew that I cover courts for Hindustan Times or Times of India. So when I would walk in, they'll start yelling at the petitioner for no reason, giving interesting quotes. For my just sentence that will make headline next day, और वो written order में नहीं डलवाते थे, वो सब open court में होता था. So I think courtroom is a good training ground for most of the spokespersons.
I don't want to be in contempt of court. पता लगा some judges.
Neither do I.
Some judges watch this and I am in jail. And you know, I think whether the spokesperson or the lawyer or the judge, because Shazia ji is sitting here and she's a senior respected spokesperson from another political party. I think in a mischievous way, we have mastered the tactic. If the topic is very difficult, or if the judge does not want to address a difficult quote, I will try to shake her by making a remark. She will try to shake me by, okay, let me see if Jaiveer gets shaken, or let me see if Shazia ji gets shaken and derails from her thought process. Similarly with the judge, when he does not want to give you a hearing, judge ka bhi mood hai, adjourn hi karna hai, then he'll make a remark. So that is why I say as a lawyer, I am thick-skinned. I know why she is remarking me or I am remarking her. Why judge wants to shake me or shake me up and ask me to leave the court. So that is why I think for a young spokesperson, old spokesperson, larger जो क्या कहते हैं कि जो जड़ी बूटी है कि वो मैं अपने मन में बना के चाहता हूँ, चाहे केस हो, चाहे प्रवक्ता हो, चाहे टीवी हो, मुझे ये 5 बातें कहनी है, धूप हो, छाए हो, गाली हो, गलोच हो, शादिया जी मुझे अच्छी लग रही है, नहीं अच्छी लग रही है, मेरे पे ताने डाल रही है, मैं इन पे क्या करूं, ये 5 बातें मैंने कह के इस 1 घंटे में उठनी है.
और बाद में उनसे सॉरी तो बोल ही लूंगा. I have noticed this and I think we'll do a very big service to the country अगर मैं कभी सारे spokesperson को off screen दिखा दूं.
बिल्कुल.
ऐसा दिख रहे होते हैं जैसे you are off camera, you are best friends, right? You are like yeah, let's meet for coffee, let's go out. of the common लोगों के लिए it will be difficult to believe.
No, I think that is also a quality.
On camera also be a good friend.
Yeah, or I think that's a quality which the court lawyers also teach, a senior also lead. The disagreement in the courtroom, you leave in the courtroom. And the beauty of our democracy, which a spokesperson always remember is, हम दुश्मनी में भी शराफत रखते हैं, and we agree to respectfully disagree. और मैं मानता हूँ किसी की पे लालचन लगाना, गाली देना, किसी को मोरल डाउन करना, चाहे कई दिन होते हैं मेरे पास अगर तथ्य ना हो या दूसरे प्रवक्ता को we give each other that space. किसी को नीचा दिखाना सबसे आसान काम है, किसी को एक इज्जत देना, बख्शना, किसी के हुनर की कदर करना और किसी से agree to disagree जो respectfully करना सबसे मुश्किल काम है. And if we have mastered that art, we have a long journey. हमें 100 मीटर की दौड़ तो दौड़नी नहीं है. I have incentives, I have ambitions, I have dreams to sit in the parliament. Either I can be an animal of populism, be a TV channel whose life is only 2 years, or I may be a derby horse or a long stallion who can run without getting exhausted. So I want to be that horse who can run without getting exhausted.
And we wish you all the best, and we are very sure that we'll see you in Parliament very soon.
That's my self.
Thank you.
That is why I'm going to write to the Prime Minister. He's made such a big parliament. Uski seats kar de 1,000. 1,000 में डाल दे quota. Young लोग under 45 irrespective महिला पुरुष ये होने ही चाहिए तो शायद हमारा chance लग जाए. Thank you so much.
और पंजाबी में
पंजाबी is wonderful.
Thanक यू सो मच.
बट जैवियर एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूं मैं. ऑन लेट चल रहे हैं. सब ऑन लेट. ये माइक बंद कर दीजिए. माइक.
What number is this, Anurag ji? What number is this?
मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि genuinely आपको is there a way to get TV debates to be more civil? Is there hope or it's never likely to happen?
I think, sir, because all of your experience much better, there are enough laws and regulations in the country, whether it is the Cable Regulation Act, whether it is the News Broadcaster Standard Authority. I appeared for Justice Sikri, and for all the spokespersons I made a debate, they have powers, they have all the laws to tame TV channels. But the point is कि आप अपनी ताकत कब दिखाएं और कितने जोर से दिखाएं. जिस दिन कोई जाग जाएगा एक्टिविस्ट, वो NBSA के पास there are specific guidelines. If an anchor or a spokesperson incites, insults, provokes, sensationalizes, speaks without fact, that TV channel can face a ban. So India has no dearth of laws and regulations.
No anchor.
The only dearth is of intention.
Intention into tame them.
So that is more regulation.
Yeah.
You're saying in terms of the environment changing, that is more force, that is more legislation. But you think in the way audiences receive it, in the way the society is, I mean,
Sir, I take hope from Netflix and Amazon. Earlier in the Bollywood movies, the only appetite was for a girl boy dancing around the rose garden. Then it shifted to, in a very sexist manner, to only item girls dancing. That appetite became. But now, when the content came, OTT, Netflix, Amazon, the people showed their appetite for serious movies, or some serious content. So I think for political class, हमें हर पिक्चर में विलन दिखाया जाता है, number one, since 1960s, 70s. But consumer, we are the girls and boys dancing. I think time will come where that platform will change, the pressure will be also change, news channels to change, and I'm just hopeful and waiting for that in my lifetime.
When your children see you, I know you have 2 children, right?
Do they say anything to you? Do they comment कि पापा वैसे क्यों बोलते हो? जब I know you're mostly very composed and you try to stick to facts and you never make personal comments. But sometimes, as you said that in those 4,000 TV debates, एक तो बात you got riled up, you're all human, right? So have you got a comment from your family about कि छोड़ दो?
All the time, I think, and I can say it on record. Again, I'm not referring to that fact when Rajiv Tyagi died on that fateful night of 14th August, I still remember. And there are now many cases of young people getting a heart attack for strange reason amongst boys and girls. And I got a call from my father that, son, evaluate what's in it for you. What are you doing? Either you train your mind to be that stress-free that you're not shaken, it doesn't impact your health, or you change gears. So मैं जैसे बोल रहा था, this is what I've signed up for. So either I train myself mentally, health-wise, because this system is here to stay, or I change my lanes.
My last two quick questions.
Again, party की politics होती है कि किसको फील्ड करना है, किसको फील्ड करना है, spokesperson, किसको चांस देना है, किसको बड़े. Have you ever faced that? फिर मैंने पिछले 2 साल से आपको कम देखा और हमारी रिसर्च में भी पिछले 2 साल से आप कम आए हैं.
That's a conscious decision.
Also बिल्कुल, because over the last few days I've got into कौन कितनी appearances, this that. I think पिछले 2 साल में have you taken a conscious decision of coming less?
सर ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा, पर पॉलिटिक्स सांप सीढ़ी का खेल है. कभी आप 99 पे और हर एक दौर देखा है. But party has given me so many opportunities in the sense we've never gone upset. But the 2 years, as ma'am is referring, yes, there has been somewhat a conscious call also. I'm active on ANI, the TV debate, the headline and the everything. But 2 साल कुछ ऐसे समझ लीजिए कि थोड़ा सांप सीढ़ी का खेल समझ रहे हैं तो
ठीक. और लास्ट क्वेश्चन, आपके 2 फेवरेट एडिटर कौन है? एक अंग्रेजी से और हिंदी से. 2 फेवरेट एंकर एडिटर.
You really don't want me to go on all TV channels. Sir, I like both the spectrum. You know, people hate certain anchors. I'll tell you about certain. I don't want to name an anchor. I like a more tough anchor who doesn't allow me to speak, because the more he challenges me and pushes me to the wall, it trains me more. The more he or yeah, I like it because they bring up. जितना आपका boxing partner उतना aggressive होगा, तब मैं boxing. Otherwise, I'll be a soft cushion chocolate boy. So they have trained me. I'm thick-skinned because of their thing. Secondly, I like a anchor or editor, one person, their humility, and because young बैठे हैं, outside TV channels, there are a few anchors who are very bad in the TV show, but they will always make a point to receive a young person at the car, drop that young person at the car. There are very people in India who are very celebrated, who are very liberal, but when you go to their shows, वो फोन स्क्रीन से आंख नहीं उठाते आपको हेलो और हाय कहने के लिए. ये एक युवा प्रवक्ता या नए प्रवक्ता पे बहुत इज्जत. तो मैं उन एंकर्स की इज्जत करता हूँ जो टीवी से ज्यादा स्टूडियो के बाद आपको इज्जत बख्शते हैं और आपको प्रमोट और सपोर्ट करते हैं.
Thank you so much, Jaiveer, for being so honest, and I hope you're back here. And I know you have to go at 4 p.m. for the launch. I'll be here. Yeah.
Also, I would request the presence of Priyanka Vadoria ji, Associate Director, Marketing and Events, Exchange for Media, to please join us on stage and felicitate Jaiveer, Shergil ji.
Yeah. I've been troubling her all the time.
A big round of applause for Jaiveer ji. Please also thank you so much, Nazia ji, a second session in a row. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, from that fireside chat, we move on to our next fireside chat. It's on the changing role of a spokesperson. And please join me in welcoming on stage Shazia Ilmi ji from BJP and Ruhail Amin, Senior Editor, Exchange for Media Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a huge round of applause.
Today I will sit on the right side.
And I'm on the left side, but I'm supposedly representing the right wing.
So great. The unique part of you being here and speaking is that you have been on the both. You've been on